The setting is West Africa, the chin of Africa in fact, for the 21st Ivory Coast Rally. Even in the absence of the major factory teams in Group A, this rally offers several stirring days of action, during which any one of the three contenders for the 1989 Group N world title have the chance to decide the outcome. Points leader is Alain Oreille in the Renault 5, 7 points behind him Gustavo Trelles, and then 8 points behind him Grégoire de Mervius, the Mazda driver. Gustavo Trelles here though for Top Run, one of the three Top Run Lanciers on the Ivory Coast Rally, has as good a chance as anybody else. Lancia, of course, have recently debuted the 16-valve version of the Lancia Delta, and both versions are here on the Ivory Coast. Pascal Gabin brought an 8-valve, but Trelles the 16-valve version. Alain Oreille has been pulling away on power during the season, and Trelles must know that unless he or de Mervius beat Alain Oreille on this rally, they have little chance of winning the title later in the year on the RAC. So with two major titles already wrapped up in the World Rally Championship this year, a lot of attention focuses on Group N here at the Ivory Coast. But of course it's not just about Group N, and the Group A cars are present as well. This of course is Paola Di Martini, seeded number 5 on the Ivory Coast with her four-wheel drive Quattro 90. And Austrian driver Rudi Stoll is just ahead of her, seeded number 4 and the highest placed Audi entrant. Though Paola Di Martini has Audi backing, Rudi Stoll, of course, is a privateer entrant for the Ivory Coast. No easy task for any driver.
How prepared are you for this rally? Do you have any chance to do any practice in here?
No, I have small practice, only 500 kilometers. It's not possible more. It's too much water, and I have no practice car here, only normal rent car, and so you cannot see the older route.
You are an adventure private driver. What makes this rally different to the others?
This rally is too much different this year to the other years. It's before too much raining and the road is very rough. And I drive here now the 4th time, and it's the roughest Ivory Coast rally what I see.
What are your tactics for this year? Because you got an accident.
Slowly and driving. I drive also last year not too fast. I cannot remember me why I have the accident, and so I drive slow and I hope I can finish.
Is your car competitive enough in compared to the other, to the Lancia, to the Nissan?
No, I have the Lancia, I have 150 horsepower more in this car. This car have only 195 horsepower. I have no turbo engine, it's 2.3 liters, it's nothing. The Group N car have more power than this car. And this is a strong car and not the power.
You like to drive on those conditions, on the very hard conditions?
Yes. It's good for the car and also for me. I think I have a good feeling when it's rough for the car, and I hope it's right for me.
Like every African rally, preparation on the Ivory Coast will be a deciding factor. While last year, several drivers complained that the event was too easy, this year the organisers set out to correct that, with the result that some sections are being criticised as too tough, especially the third leg. But there has been plenty of chance to see exactly what lies in store during the recce, and the preparation of notes has been painstakingly thorough. Seeded 3rd in Group N, and one of the drivers who could claim the world title on this event, just how well prepared is Belgian driver Grégoire de Mervius?
Much better than I was for Safari, because I make all the stage once, and then Safari I make only half or even less than half of the way, and I have a local co-driver and I have to make the notes in English, and I am not very used to that. So here I have my normal co-driver. We make all the practice, and then Willy finished 2nd overall last year, so we have a very good experience of the rally, and he knows what kind of speed we have to take to begin and everything. And the bad parts that we need to go slow and don't and to pass without problems.
How are the stages so far?
It's a big difference from last year. He told me it's a big difference, and it's much more rough. And it's a bit like Kenya, but it's a bit shorter. So in Kenya we lost. We stopped for 400 kilometers before the end, and it was 1,500 more long. So I think we can do it here, but we have to go slow.
You think that your car is competitive to the other car for this rally?
I think the Mazda is the car that we need to make something in the Group N, because now it's the fourth race the team make in Africa, because they make Safari 2 times, Ivory Coast 1 time last year. They finished 4th overall. So it's the 4th rally, so we have some experience now from all of the rally for the suspension and everything.
Your tactics for the race, and what are your chances? I mean, your real chances to have here a win?
Maybe I don't need to win, but I need to take some points from Alain. Not so much, but just a few points, because to have only 4 points behind him before the rack, because that's really a race for us, because it's a secret. And then if you have only 2-wheel drive, you have to go slow because you don't know the roads, and then you have to start always again, and then you lose much more time than in a normal gravel road. And maybe there is some snow and you cannot have some spikes, and we have a big advantage there.
With the main target in Group N being the higher-seeded Renault of a supremely confident Alain Oreille, De Mervius must also contend with the 3 Lancia Deltas fielded by Top Run Racing, one of them in the hands of Sweden's Fredrik Skoghag. And like the Mazda driver, Skoghag too had invested considerable time in his recce.
Yeah, we have done the whole bit. We just missed a few bits when our car had a few problems, the wrecking car. But I think we are quite good prepared.
How are the roads? Can you tell me a little bit about the roads now?
Since it's my first time here, I'm a little bit difficult to tell the comparison, but from what I heard from everyone else and from what I've seen myself, it's quite unbelievable rough and wet.
Is this a rally for a good car or for a good driver?
I think it's a rally for a good car and an intelligent driver.
Is your car competitive enough to do in those kind of rallies? Is more competitive than the Mazda, or it's just the same?
No, I think our cars are quite similar in that way. I think the big difference here will be the driver, the one who thinks the most, who's the fastest, not on the rough parts, but on the good parts, and keeps very calmly on the rough parts. Since both of us cars are Group N cars, so we have a lot of standard in a standard car, so they are a bit sensible. But since it's 4-wheel drive, I think it's good in all this mud we have this year. But take it sensibly in the rough parts.
The tires is going to have any role in this rally if the weather change?
No, I don't think tires are a big matter over here. It's more shock absorbers, the body itself, all the parts that gets the shaking and the beating, they are important.
What are going to be your tactics? Do you have any plans to do this rally? What you say, okay, wait what the other ones are doing or just attack?
No, definitely try to drive intelligent, drive calmly, and take them all in the end.
The other Lancia is that of Pascal Gabon, seeded 3rd in this field behind the Mitsubishi of Patrick Tauziac and the Nissan 200 of Alain Ambrosino. Although Lancia have enjoyed another year of domination in Group A and rounded off their title-winning season with yet another debut victory from the latest generation of the awesome Delta, the Group N cars are slightly less formidable. Nevertheless, Gustavo Trelle's car is to the new specification with slightly better handling and with all the extra torque and marginally more power of the 16-valve engine. After its debut victory on the San Remo Rally, all the drivers who experienced the 16-valve said it was the torque which made the difference rather than the power, just a little bit more pulling power in the mid-ranges, and that made a world of difference to the car. Externally and internally to the driver, there's no visible difference, but it remains to be seen whether the new car can score its victory in Group N here on the Ivory Coast. So, with all the pomp and circumstance which the Ivory Coast can muster for occasions of this nature, with the band playing and with the flags flying, last year's winner, Frenchman Alain Ambrosino, is the first man onto the ramp on day one. Ahead of him, and good stage times with a good position on the road can be a major benefit. Some of the gravel sections which lie ahead from mud to dry dust with comparative ease. Last year on his very first outing. Grégoire de Mervius then number 11. Number 12 is the second 323 entered by Mazda for another Belgian crew, Didier Monin and Manuel Targez. Number 14 is the Volkswagen Golf GTI of Alain Oudit, a privateer French entrant. And number 15, Rains had finished only 2 days earlier, before the start of the event. Gabon, though, in the top run Lancia, close behind at the time control. Again, no outward signs of the problems inside. And the Lancia apparently going very strongly indeed. With Rudi Stoll and with the leaders, although as these rode season, even the team manager said that they hadn't thought of winning and all they tried to do was keep the car running as long as possible, and for that reason they changed parts for security at every opportunity. They also ran the car as light as possible. It only does about 9 miles to the gallon, and they refueled as often as they could and never loaded more than 42 litres, about 10 gallons on board. So if Alain Oreille had missed one rendezvous point with his service team, he would have been out of the rally. The other two contenders for the Group N World title. Number 11 here is Grégoire de Mervius in the Mazda. And de Mervius has passed number 10, Gustavo Trelles, and is closing now on Alain Oreille. His self-restraint here, taking things easily and picking his way round the edges of the puddles wherever he can, is a sign to the control of the driver, because the world title is within his reach if he can pass the car in front of him. He gets through the big puddle that's caused all the problems with no difficulty. Over the ruts and then away on the gravel. De Mervius has already passed Rudi Stoll, and now Gustavo Trelles passes Stoll as well and moves up another place. In fact, Rudi Stoll on his way out of the rally and retiring very, very shortly. Meanwhile, Trelles arrives at the puddle hazard, takes it a little bit quicker than Grégoire de Mervius. Bounces it over the ruts and away on the gravel. But later on, near the control point at Kechi, he plunged straight in, got stuck in the mud, and you can see all four wheels kicking up spray there. And is now well and truly sunk in, despite the fact that there is no shortage of helping hands and no shortage of people willing to dig. The top run Lancia well and truly entrenched, and it took a tow rope and 15 minutes to clear it from the mud. That wasn't the end of his problems though, and he retired soon afterwards with a damaged differential. Meanwhile, a fire under the bonnet had put Rudi Stoll out, and then leader Alain Ambrosino went out after a collision with a service barge. Just 25 of the 60 starters finished day one, with Pascal Gabon the leader and Alain Oreille second. But by the end of the next day, an overheating problem had slowed Gabon and dropped him down into 5th position. That meant that behind him, car number 25, Frédéric Skognag, was the sole surviving member of the top run team and still looked strong for a good finish. Paola De Martini in the Quattro was on her way out of the rally, the engine eventually dying quietly by the roadside. And Grégoire de Mervius too was not long for the leaderboard. He half-rolled the Mazda into a muddy puddle and retired, virtually handing the Group N title to Alain Oreille, providing the Renault could finish. By now, the rate of attrition had been ensured a place on the rostrum, first place on the rostrum for Alain Oreille. A historic win for a Group N car, and of course that secured him the World Championship. Patrick Tauziac with the Mitsubishi was second, and then a clutch of Toyotas for Choteau, for Ségolène and for Servon. It's difficult to say which of the two events